Okay. Is my screen visible and I am audible? Is my screen visible and am I audible? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So we will, the most important thing in time series, we will have some types of theory part at the first. After that we will move to Stata software and we will be working with the data. I will also share the data with you, the Excel file I will share with you, so that you can learn from that. Okay, you can also practice at your home or at your university, anywhere. Okay. So the first thing is that why time series is important in today's date. I already told that if you are working for a company and if you are working for some company, you have I think you have heard HSBC, one of the most reputed company where the economics and statistics students used to got placed after their master degree is completed. So what does HSBC do? HSBC basically is a company which forecasts the stock prices, which forecast the stock prices. What is going to be the stock price of a particular share after 2 days, after 1 month, after 1 year? They used to forecast the stock prices. You are not going to some HSBC or private company. You are going for a government job. Okay. And the most important part where the economics and the statisticians used to go is the policy part, to make policies, to derive policies. So one of the most important is macroeconomic forecasting. If you are predicting the GDP growth, and if you are predicting the most important thing, that is the unemployment growth, if you are predicting the inflation growth for the next half year, for the next month, for the next year, you can do that. Monetary policy, if you are working on RBI, Reserve Bank of India, and you are on the policy section, the central bank, the RBI uses the time series model, the time series data for the change in the rate of the inflation rate, because as we know, if the money supply in the economy rises, the inflation rate also goes up. So the RBI can control the money supply on the basis of the change in the inflation rate. But how I can predict the inflation rate? I can predict the inflation rate on the basis of the past data. Okay. So these are the things. Financial markets, I will go to the financial markets and I will be working with the financial data. It will take time, but today we start with the basic time series. What is time series and what are the components of time series and what are the real life applications of time series, and I will show something on Stata. Okay, today I will not go to some derivations, some mathematical models, because it is the first day. We are going to discuss about time series, what is the into basic of time series, introduction of time series. Then day by day we are going to some mathematical models, mathematical derivations and real life applications using the Stata software. Okay. Now the thing is that as we know, I think most of you know what is the difference between a cross sectional data, a time series data and a panel data. Okay, so what is the difference between a cross sectional data and a time series data and panel data? In case of cross section, what we do, we fix the time. Suppose 2026, we fix the time and we go to each and every household and collect data. So this becomes cross sectional data. Time is fixed, but households are different, so this becomes a cross sectional data. But what is a time series data? If the household is fixed and the time changes, or if the country is fixed and the time changes, suppose I am collecting data of India for from 2000 to 2020, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, like that I collect up to 2026. So this becomes a time series data. And what is a panel data? What is a panel data? A panel data is a data where the time changes as well as the household also changes. Suppose at 2026 you are collecting data for 4 countries: India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Okay, so this becomes your cross sectional data. Fine. Now for 2026, from 2000 to 2026, 2020 to 2026, you are collecting data for India. You are collecting data for only one country, India. That becomes your time series data, because you are collecting with respect to time. You get a data for India for 2020, you get a data for India from 2021, for 2022, 2023, like that. Now if I tell you that you are collecting data for India, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Myanmar from the year 2000 to 2026, from in the year 2000 to 2026, so you will get a data point for India 2000, for Bangladesh for Pakistan, for Myanmar, again for 2001 India, 2001 Bangladesh, like that you will get a lot of data points. When your time is also changing, as well as you are taking multiple countries or multiple households or multiple units, then it becomes a panel data. Okay, this becomes a panel data. Panel data is also very interesting part of econometrics or statistics, I should say. Okay, so when we are always, there should be three things you should remember: time fix, household changes or country changes, cross sectional; household fix or country fix, time changes, time series; household changes or country changes and time also changes, that becomes your panel data. Okay, fine. Now I have given, I will provide this note. You can just go through this, because it is written in case of what is the difference between a panel data, what is difference between cross sectional and time series. In cross sectional there is only one time period, in time series there are many time period, and panel data there are also many time period. Okay, and what are the key issues we face in case of cross sectional data? In case of cross sectional data, we face the issue of heteroscedasticity, that is expectation of ui square, that is the error variance is not more constant. Okay, it becomes sigma square I, where I belongs to 1 to n. So the most important problem in case of cross sectional data, we face heteroscedasticity. Can anyone tell me what is the remedy for heteroscedasticity? What can be a remedy, good remedy for heteroscedasticity? What can be a good remedy for heteroscedasticity? Yes,
Combine
Increasing the sample size.
one can be increasing the sample size, but if I don't not
combine
want,
it with time series data.
no, no. What should I, if I suppose I am going for OLS, I used to estimate, I am estimating a part.
Removing multilinearity.
No, no. What I told you, that how can I remove heteroscedasticity?
Sir, we can use weighted
GLS.
least square methods.
Yes, yes. Once more.
Weighted
GLS.
least square
Weighted
methods.
least square method, we can use WLS or GLS, the generalized least square method, and or weighted least square method. What we do in weighted least square method? Can anyone tell me what we do in
We
WLS?
divide the original equation with the the variable part that is with the error term.
Exactly. We actually divide the whole model. If my model is yi equals to alpha plus beta xi plus ui, then what we do? Oh, what we do, we divide it by yi by sigma I, alpha I by sigma I. We divide the whole thing by the variance. Okay, so this is the, and what is a very good renowned test for detecting heteroscedasticity? Renowned test for detecting heteroscedasticity, anyone?
Gold
Bushpagan.
Yes,
Goldfield
Bushpagan.
form.
Bruce Pagan, and one is Goldfield quant. Okay, fine. So in case of cross sectional data, mostly we get heteroscedasticity problem. In time series, what is the most important problem we get? Autocorrelation and stationarity. I will go with stationarity. Stationarity is a very big concept. Stationarity versus non-stationarity. This is the most important concept in time series. The whole time series is based on stationarity and non-stationarity. Okay, we will go with stationarity. But the most important problem is autocorrelation. What is autocorrelation problem? Can anyone tell me what is the problem of autocorrelation?
That we cannot distinguish the effects of two different variables.
No. What is the main problem of autocorrelation?
That it defines the correlation between the members of the series of the observation that ordered in time, specifically in time series data or in the space of cross sectional data. In
Yes,
term of
that means suppose my variable is yt, so it also depends on its lag values, yt minus 1, yt minus 2, yt minus k. It depends on its lag values. Okay, so can anyone tell me one of the most important remedy that we use in autocorrelation? Remedy to remove autocorrelation, one most important remedy. Anyone? No one from the pupil all here. No pupil from here. No one can tell what is the basic remedy that we use to remove autocorrelation.
GLS method
No,
also.
no, 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 no,
We can drop a variable.
no. GLS method for heteroscedasticity, dropping a variable for multicollinearity. But in autocorrelation, we have all studied in our UG days. Just remember, try to remember. Economics and statistics people, just try to remember what we do.
We did first difference.
Exactly, we did first difference. We take the first difference, YT, and if the lag variable is YT minus 1, then we take the first difference, and this is very important in our time series analysis. We will just practice it in stata. Okay, how to take first difference and what is the benefit of taking first difference, we will just show you. Okay, and in case of panel data, there is a problem, that is there is a individual heterogeneity problem. I will also come up with a course with panel data, and I will share with you guys. That is, panel data is very interesting. There are also types of effects: fixed effect, random effect. We go for Hushman test, and if you go for panel autoregressive distributive lag model, ARDL, that is a very interesting part. I am not going to right now. Okay, this is the thing. So the problem belongs in time series. We are talking with time series. The most important problem is autocorrelation, and I repeat that the most important problem which you are going to deal throughout this course, or you are going to deal throughout your time series journey, is stationarity problem. Okay, we will discuss that what is stationarity and what is non-stationarity. We will discuss it, but for now we will just go for the introduction part. Okay, now what are the components of the time series? This is the most important part. Components means how can you define a time series? What are the characteristic features of a time series? Okay, there are 4 components of a time series. The first component is trend. What do you mean by a trend? We actually say, when we see the GDP, we say there is an upward trend. Most interestingly, when we used to see the IPL match between Kolkata Knight Riders and some Chennai Super Kings. Okay, so when you used to see the IPL match of these teams or any other team, you can see that the runs are plotted in a figure. The runs of the team are plotted in a figure like this. For these are the overs, 1 2 like that up to 20. The overs are here and the runs are plotted like this. So what does it mean? This means that the runs are upward rising. So there is a clear upward trend that this team is performing heavily. Suppose I have the data of India, batsman of the India, and for the past 5 years. So if I go for analysis that how India will score today with England. Suppose there is a match between India and England, and I am a score analyst, and I am just predicting that how India is going to score today in England. So I have the information. What you have the, if you have the data of the ground where India will play, you have the data in that particular ground, how much time India played and how much run India have scored. So if you see that each and every time India is playing in Lords, India is scoring for the first year from 2001 to 2026, there is a clear upward trend. If you see, there is a clear upward trend. So this is what we called as trend in time series. Let me tell you about GDP. When you just go, you just search for GDP, just search for GDP in Google and go to the images section. You will see many pictures like this and showing India's GDP is going to boom in 5 years. India's GDP is going to boom in 2 years, in the half quarter. So what is this trend? This trend is basically a thing in time series which shows that the direction of the time series or the direction of the variable I am using. If the variable is GDP, so where the GDP is moving with respect to time, from 2000 to 2026, the GDP is moving at a upward stretch. If it is in a downward stretch, then the GDP is moving at a downward trend. So this is known as trend. Okay, this is the first component of time series. The second component of time series is seasonal variation. What do you mean by seasonal variation? Let me give you an example. Always connect yourself with real life, okay? Because think that this is 2026 and you guys are going to join a company or you are going to work for the government in the next 2 to 3 years or next 1 to 2 years, because all of you guys are studying right now MSc in math, MSc in economics, MSc in statistics, so you will get a good job in some private company or you will be going to the government policies, okay? So always connect yourself when you are studying anything, studying economics, studying statistics, studying mathematics, always connect yourself to the real world. Okay, so suppose you have seen the sale of smartphones during Diwali, the sale of smartphones during Durga Puja. What happens? It actually goes up. Why it goes up? Or the sale of smartphones in 15th August, because already Flipkart and Amazon have launched that we are going to give a freedom sale from 8th August to 15th August up to this time. So how Flipkart and Amazon is going to predict that how much cost of a particular smartphone I should keep in my website so that people come and purchase my product? This is a very big analysis. This is a marketing analyst. This is a work of a marketing analyst. How Flipkart would judge that I am going to keep the price of Oppo, Vivo, Motorola, iPhone. How much price should I keep in the website so that people come and buy? They have the data of the previous years. They have the data of 2000, 2001, or sorry, 2020, 2021, 2022, and they have the data of 5 previous years, and on the basis of that data they used to collect it, and this is known as seasonal variation. Why we tell it as seasonal variation? Seasonal variation means it occurs in a particular season. Diwali comes once in a year. Durga Puja comes once in a year. So we call it as seasonal variation. On that particular season, we can have different types of sales. So the most important in winter, the sale of jackets. In winter, the sale of jackets rises because winter comes once in a year. So since winter comes once in a year, the sale of jackets at that particular month, starting from November to January, the sale of jackets is very high. The sale of each and everything is very high during Durga Puja in online websites. The sale of shirts, the sale of t-shirts, and each and everything is very high. So why we call it a seasonal variation? Because it occurs in a particular season. It occurs in a particular season, in a particular year, and it comes once in a year. That is why we called it as seasonal variation. It is the second component of time series. It is the second component of time series. So first one is trend. Trend means you just predict that you can just see that from the data that how my GDP is going, how my cricket runs are going, how my sale is going. This is what we called as trend, upward trend, downward trend. And seasonal variation means it actually varies with the season in a particular year. Okay, now comes cyclical variation. I think you guys have heard about business cycle. How does a business cycle look? The business cycle looks like this. At the top there is boom, and at the bottom there is recession. Okay, and after this boom, from recession again recession to boom, the business cycle works like this. So this is known as cyclical variation. Cyclical variation means it occurs but after a very long time. So most important example is when we have the global financial crisis of 2008, and we also have the financial crisis during 2020. So this can be a particular example of cyclical variation, because in case of cyclical variation there is a difference. People actually actually they used to puzzle between cyclical variation and seasonal variation. They used to think both things are same. No, seasonal variation occurs each and every year, and it comes once in a year. The sale of smartphones during Diwali, the sale of smartphones during Durga Puja, the sale of jackets during winter. But cyclical variation do not comes up in a year. Cyclical variation is a long term process. Suppose in 2008 there was a global financial crisis, and again in 2020 we are facing the COVID-19 recession. So there is a gap. How much gap? 12 years gap. So you cannot say that it occurs in 2008 and it occurred in 2020. So these 12 years I will just add up 12 with 2020 and I will tell the next financial recession will come on 2032. No, not like that, because it is unpredictable. It is unpredictable because the financial crisis came at 2008 and it again occurred to COVID-19 came at 2020. So cyclical variation is something which actually occur at a longer period. It takes longer period, but it comes into the economy, because if we see the business cycle, there are two things. The economy goes to the boom and again the economy comes into the recession, but cyclical variation comes. Okay, but it comes It takes some time. It takes a longer time. Okay. Now the most important thing, the irregular and the random variation, or we say the white noise. What you say in white noise? What is the definition of a white noise? Can you say? Can anyone say? Yi equals to alpha plus beta xi plus ui. What is the white noise here? Ui is the white noise. Why it is known as white noise? Anyone?
Because it can be predicted.
No. Ui is the only term which we cannot predict. It can't be predicted, or you told me that you can it can be predicted. Can't be. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I heard the wrong thing. Yes, it can't be predicted. No, what are the things that we should call it as white noise?
When observations are independent and an IIT, so then have constant variance and mean is equal to 0, then white noise.
No, I told that why we call UI as white noise or the random term. What is the role of UI in a regression model?
To take into account random errors that cannot be appropriately guessed using the regression model.
Yes, very close. That to take into account all the, or the capture the impact of all the variables that we cannot use as explanatory variables. Okay, fine. But this white noise and this time series white noise is something different. Different in the sense, when we use UI in our regression model, it basically, as one of the students said, that expectation of UI, the mean and variance becomes constant. But in time series, white noise or the irregular random variation means that can occur any time of the year. Suppose in Assam, what you saw in Assam, Assam has got a lot of floods in recent times. Okay, so is that was predictable? No, it was not predictable. So the thing which is not predictable, or the thing which occurs at any circumstances and it cannot be avoided, those are the irregular or random variation in our time series, and it is a component of time series. One of the most beautiful example is, you can say, COVID-19. Indian GDP was moving. I have taken into account the GDP of India. Okay, and I will just analyze the time series today in Stata. Yeah, I will just follow that. I will just use the data in Stata, and I will just show you that how you can just see the irregular variation, how you can see the trend, how you can see the seasonal variation, how you can see the cyclical variation. You can see each and everything. But irregular or random variation in time series, it basically defines that a particular event that has occurred randomly, suddenly it has occurred. Randomly or suddenly it has occurred. The market crash, the stock market crash. The stock market crash can be due to an unexpected geopolitical movement or any geopolitical event, or it may be some due to some disaster. It may be due to some political war between two countries. It may be due to war between two countries, international war between two countries. So these irregular things, the war between Russia and Ukraine was not predictable. The war between America and Iran was not predictable. So due to that, many things have changed. Due to the war between America and Iran, the price of oil goes up, and as well as the stock market crashes. So many things have been taken into account in the economy due to this irregular and random variation. So this is the last component of time series, which we call it as irregular or random variation. Okay, or sometimes we call it as noise component. Okay, so just let me show you this thing. Just wait. Yeah, just let me show you the 4 diagrams. Okay, trend means, so this is how we calculate trend with respect to time. The value is being calculated, and it is showing an upward trend. We can see that it is showing an upward trend. Okay, fine. So this is what we call as trend. Seasonal variation means, I told you that at this point, suppose this is a sales data. Okay, suppose this is sales data. So at this point in a particular year, at this point the sale is going up. So what I told you, that it may be Durga Puja, it may be something or else, it may be winter, the sale of jackets in winter. So winter comes once in a year, and when winter is coming, my sale is going up. My sale is going up at the top. So this is seasonal variation. Seasonal variation means it occurs at a part. So if I take this as an example of sale of jacket, so sale of jacket is high in the winter and low at the summer. Again high in the winter, low at the summer. Again high in the winter, low at the summer. So this is what we called as seasonal variation. Seasonal variation means it occurs at a particular season. It occurs at a particular season. Okay. And this is cyclical variation. You can see there is some sort of we can see, you can tell that there is seasonal variation and cyclical variation looks almost same. No, but what is the difference? The main difference is in case of seasonal variation, what I told, it occurs each and every year. It is compulsory. It occurs each and every year. But in case of cyclical variation, it occurs at a longer time. We do not know. The gap between this and the gap between this or this may not be same. This may occur at 10 years. This may take place at 20 years. This may occur at 15 years. So the gap may not be same because cyclical variation takes time. Takes longer time. Okay. Cyclical variation takes longer time. Okay. And the last one is irregular or the random thing. And the last one is irregular or random thing. What you saw, the irregular or random thing is that it can happen at any time. It can happen at any time. It can happen at any point of time. It can happen at any year. I do not know. You do not know. It is unpredictable. So the irregular random term looks like the heartbeat of a person. We see in the cinema, no, that the heartbeat of a person, how it is located. So this is what we call as the irregular or random pattern. Okay, fine. So if there are two models in time series. One is additive model and one is multiplicative model. Additive model is we just add these four components. T means trend, S means seasonal variation, C means cyclical variation, and I I means this irregular pattern. Okay, additive model, we just add it up. And multiplicative model, we just multiply it. So there are two types of model in time series, that if you add it up, then it is additive model, and if you just multiply it, it is multiplicative model. Okay, fine. So this is what we call as the two models of time series. Fine. Okay, now let me just introduce some mathematical foundations how we write time series. Whenever we write time series, suppose our variable, dependent variable is y, we write no, y equals to alpha plus beta xi plus ui, we write it like this. But in case of cross sectional data, we write I belongs to 1 to n. Okay, but in case of time series data, we used to represent it as yt, because t represents the time series. T represents the time series. Okay, so the thing is that yt, y, 1 minute, someone is joining, I think. Let me check. Just let me check. Someone is joining. I am just getting the notification. Okay, fine. No one is joining. So in case of time series, we write it as yt. What does t represent? It represents time. Suppose if I tell you that you have the data, you have year and you have GDP. You have year and you have GDP. Okay. So year is 2020, GDP is something like A, 2021, GDP is B. So how do you write? Suppose your dependent variable Y is GDP. Your dependent variable is GDP and you write it as Y. But in case of cross-sectional data, we write it as YI because we represents the ith number. But in case of time series data, what we do? YT. T represents time. It may be 2020, it may be 2021, it may be 2022, it may be 2023. So whatever it may be, T represents time. Always remember, T represents time. Okay. So what we do is that when we write the other parts of the model, we also add T there. Alpha T plus beta T xt plus ut. All of the parts of the model are written as T, because you are writing a time series model. Whenever you are writing a time series model, remember you are using T. Whenever you are writing a time series model, remember you are denoting it by T. Okay, so T represents for time period. Time period may be 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. It may be anything. Okay, so observation at time period T. Now suppose you have the data from 2020 to 2023. Okay, fine. So you are representing YT. T stands for time. So if I am representing 2023 as YT, so what will be my YT minus 1? YT minus 1 will be 2023 minus 1, that is 2022. So if we take on lag values means there are two types of values, lag value and lead value. Lag values means you are going in the past sense, you are going in the past. So if you are going in the past, you are taking some lag values, means yt minus 1, yt minus 2, yt minus 3, yt minus k. I do not know the value of k. It may be 15, it may be 10, it may be 20. I do not know the value of k. So yt represents 2023. Yt minus 1 represents 2022. The value of the variable or the value of GDP at 2023, value of GDP at 2022, value of GDP at 2021. Like this, if you go value of GDP at 2000 at time period k. So I do not know the value of k. It may be 15. If it becomes 10, then 2023 minus 10, 2013. So T represents the time. And when you go for lag values, always remember you are using the past. You are going to the past. So when you are going to the past, T minus 1, T minus 2, T minus 3, T minus 4, we are going to the past. T minus 1 means the previous time period. T minus 2 means the previous time period. Like that, we are moving to the second previous time period, third previous time period, fourth previous time period. So this is lag value. And one more thing, there is lead value. Lead value when we go for forecasting. Suppose you have the data of a particular stock for the year 2000 to 2026. Okay, for SBI, you have the data for SBI share price from 2000 to 2026. Fine. So what you do, if you go, if you just, you are hired in my company and I told you that what will be the share price, just forecast that what will be the share price of SBI at 2027. So I am just telling you to predict or forecast the price of SBI at 2027. So what is it? It is basically YT plus 1. If it is YT, then it is YT plus 1. If I tell you to predict of 2028, it is YT plus 2. So since T represents time, there are two things. One is lag value, one is lead value. Lag value means going to the past, lead value means going to the future. Okay. So when we are doing some types of forecasting analysis, we are just predicting the share price of SBI at 2027. So it is YT plus 1. We are standing at YT. What is YT? And what about 2025? It is YT minus 1. What about 2024? YT minus 2. So if we are going to the past, then we are taking the lag values. We are going to the future, we are taking the lead values. Okay, these are the lag values and lead values. Okay, so these are the two things of a time series model. Okay, now I told you guys that what is the difference between taking what is the remedy for autocorrelation. You guys told me that the most important is the taking the first difference method. Okay, so first difference, second difference, what does that mean? Suppose you have a model, you have a variable YT. So you have one period lag YT minus 1, you have two period lag YT minus 2. So if I tell you to take the first difference means you are just subtracting YT minus 1 from YT, means YT minus YT minus 1. Suppose you have the for GDP, this is year and this is GDP. So at the year YT, the GDP is A, and YT minus 1, the GDP was B. So YT minus YT minus 1 is nothing but A minus B. So this is the meaning of fast difference. Fast difference means you are just subtracting the first lag value of the dependent variable or the variable you have from its previous value. Okay. So if we take second difference, what will happen? If we take second difference, then yt minus yt minus 1, and again what we will do, we will take another minus and yt minus 1 minus yt minus 2. This is second difference. But first difference is the most common. Second difference, we if we are working with a heavy time series data, where you do not have the you are not getting the data as a stationary part, by taking first difference, if the autocorrelation problem is not going in the first difference, then you go to second difference. But the most important part where we work, or in the data which we work, first difference is very okay. First difference is very okay. First difference means that you are just subtracting yt minus yt minus 1, the value at time period t, and minus the value at time period t minus 1. This gives you something results. Okay, so this is the first difference and second difference. Okay, log transformation, this is not so important, because or I think most of you guys know that what is log transformation. In case of World Bank data, when we used to work with GDP data, okay, I will be working with GDP data right now. When we work with GDP data, the values are so big that it is in million, trillion. So what we do, we take log GDP, because by taking log, the value of the GDP becomes small. Okay, so there is some work with numerical examples. So the thing is that now we shall go to the application part. What we have learned today, we will just see that how we can just analyze that either trend is present or not in the time series data. So just let me just give me a minute. Up to this, is there any questions? Are there any questions from anyone up to this? Any question from anyone? I would love to hear. No questions from no one.
ফার্স্ট ডিফারেন্স অ্যান্ড সেকেন্ড ডিফারেন্সটা একবার যদি বুঝিয়ে দাও
Okay, fast difference and second difference means that when you are using a data, when you have some data like, just let me show you. When you have a data like yt, this represents the variable at time period t. Okay, so what if you do, if you just subtract, so suppose you have the data for year and GDP. At year 2025, the GDP was A. At year 2026, the GDP was B. So you consider year 2026 as YT, the value of GDP at time period T, that is T is 2026. So what will be 2025 YT minus 1? So if I tell you that what is the difference between GDP of 2026 and 2025, what are you going to do? B minus A. So this is first difference, YT minus YT minus 1. I am subtracting the value of GDP at 2026 from 2025. I am subtracting it and I am getting B minus A. This is the first difference method. When we take first difference, we just subtract the value of this at the time period T minus from time period T minus 1. Okay, fine. Someone asked to join. Okay, no. Fine. So now I shall go with this type. I shall go with data. I shall go with some real life examples. And as I told you, that the most important thing I should tell each and everyone, that whenever you are learning something, it may be time series, it may be panel data regression, it may be cross sectional. Always try to apply it. Okay, always try to apply it in your real life. Okay, otherwise if you are just reading something and writing something in your exam and getting some output, getting some good marks, that doesn't gives you something. Okay, how to apply it? So I will give this Excel file to you. Okay, there is the country. I have the data of India from year 1960 to 2020. I have the data for India from 1960 to 2020. Fine. So what I will do, I will just copy this data. First, let me copy this data. From 1960 to 2020 means 1960 to 2020 means 40 and 20 means 60 years. I have the data for GDP per capita of India for 60 years. Okay, let me just open Stata. You can do it in any other software also, in Python, machine learning, each and everything. But Stata is very easy, and I think most of you know Stata. So I have I will be using Stata throughout this time series. Okay. So the data is being pasted in Stata. Okay. The first thing we should do is that whenever you are putting some data into Stata will never know whether your data is time series, or whether your data is panel, or whether your data is cross sectional. So if you put some cross sectional data, by default Stata will take it as cross sectional data. There is no need to declare it as a cross sectional data. But whenever you are using some panel data, or whenever you are using some time series data, what you need to declare the data as a time series data or panel data. You need to declare the data as a time series data or panel data. Fine. So whenever you are using with the time series data or panel data, so I will write a command. What command I will write? Just see the command: t set, then I will give year. T set year means I am just declaring Stata that the data I have given to you, it is a time series data. And when I will just press an enter, you can see it is written time variable year 1960 to 2020, means from 1960 to 2020 the data is being pasted, and delta equals to 1 unit. Why delta equals to 1 unit? Delta means, what do you mean by delta? Delta means the change. It means 1960 to 1961, 1961 to 1962. The data is like this: 1960 to 1961, 1961 to 1962. Now from up to 2020, the data is being there. Okay, so I just give Stata a command that t set year, the time variable is year, and from year 1960 to 2020 my data is there, and by default Stata sees my data, and what it declares, that delta equals to 1 unit, means there is a 1 unit gap in each and every year. Okay, now first thing I will go for is that I will go for that whether there any kind of, we have already we saw that there are 4 components of a time series. There are 4 components of a time series. What are the 4 components of a time series? The first one was trend, the second one was seasonal variation, then cyclical variation, then irregular variation. So I want to see whether any kind of up to this 4, whether any kind of time series component exist in my data or not. The first thing when you are using time series, the most important thing when you are using time series data, you have to check whether any of the component, trend or seasonal variation or cyclical variation or irregular or random variation, any of the component exist in my data or not. The first important thing you have to go for. The first important thing you have to go for. So you can see there are 4 components of time series: trend, seasonal variation, irregular, cyclical variation. You have to check that whether there are any component present in my data or not. If there is any component present in my data, then my data will be said as non-stationary data. My data will be said as non-stationary. I will just discuss what is non-stationary and stationary. I already told. I will discuss it in the next class. The most important part, how to check that there is stationarity or non-stationarity. But I have to check that whether there is seasonal variation, cyclical variation, irregular or trend present in my data or not. Okay, just let me go to the data, and I just write and comment ts line. TS line is a command which is used to graph your time series data. TS line, what is the name of the variable? GDP per capita. TS line, GDP per capita. It will take some time to generate the graph, and what you can see, what is your observation, that which component is present? Cyclical, irregular, which component is present?
Trained.
Trend is present. Okay, and one most important thing, can you see that there why the GDP from 1960, the GDP of India, GDP per capita, I am using World Bank data. This is not a manipulated data, this is World Bank data. You can go to Google and search for World Bank data for GDP per capita. The trend is the trend is going up. But what happens to this place? Why it is downward sloping? Can anyone give the, yes?
Due to presence of cyclical
No. Check the year.
At the
Check
time
the
of
year.
COVID.
At the time of COVID, yes, at the time of COVID. At 2020, the GDP per capita, the GDP per capita of India was rising at a trend. It has a positive trend. But at the time of COVID, when we saw that there is a downward falling of the GDP per capita at this place. So, B2 due to time of COVID. Okay. So we can see one component of time series is present. One component of time series is present, that is trend. Whenever one of the component, I am very sorry, whenever one of the component is present in time series, we cannot work with that type of data. We cannot work with that type of data. Why? Because I will just show you in the next class, there is a concept called stationarity and non-stationarity. I am just giving a slight example. Stationarity and non-stationarity means, suppose you have a time series data and your time series data have some mean, have some variance. In case of stationarity, the mean and variance of the time series is constant. Mean and variance of the time series is constant. And in case of non-stationarity, the mean and variance of the time series is not more constant. So whenever the mean and variance is not constant, we face different types of problem. We face different types of problem in time series. I will show you in the next class. Stationarity and non-stationarity is a very big thing. One class will take only to discuss about stationarity, non-stationarity, and how to detect stationarity, non-stationarity. Okay, I will just discuss with proper derivations. But whenever there is some trend or cyclical variation or seasonal variation or irregular pattern, we cannot go for time series analysis. Then what is the solution? Already you guys told me that whenever autocorrelation is present in your data, trend means, acha, tell me one thing. If you see that there is a trend, can you tell me autocorrelation is present or not? What do you signify? Suppose I am running this command again. Can anyone tell me if there is a trend, is there any autocorrelation between the data? What do you think? What do you think? Why? Why?
Because we have the lag values.
So how can you explain that? Suppose you can see that there is a proper trend, upward trend with the year and GDP per capita. Can anyone tell me that if it has some trend, whether there is any type of autocorrelation in this data or not?
Yes, because we compare the different times of the values, like 2020 and the previous is it 2019, 18,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
that's what
Means
we have.
you are just clarifying that if in 2020 my GDP is 15 rupees and in 2021 my GDP becomes 18 rupees, so 15 rupees is affecting 18 rupees. The thing you are going to say. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, whenever there is trend or cyclical variation, suppose this is a clear there is a clear upward trend, and if there is a clear upward trend, we can easily, very easily say that each and every year's GDP per capita is depending on the previous period, is depending on the previous period. If India is at rupees 15 today, India will definitely move to rupees 18 tomorrow, and India will definitely move to rupees 20 tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And so there is a perfect autocorrelation. So whenever we have the problem of autocorrelation, we go for fast difference method. I will just run a command for fast difference method. Just see. I will generate one more column. Let me name it as GDP. Gen GDP equals to D dot, D means difference. Okay, this D means difference. D dot GDP per capita means I am taking the first difference of GDP per capita, and naming it as GDP. Gen means generate. The full form of gen is generate. Generate GDP equals to D. D means first difference. I am taking the first difference of what? This GDP per capita column. Okay. And I am just pressing an enter. So I can see, if you go to the data editor, you can see there will be one more column. It is named as GDP. The first difference, 307.728 minus 302.672, 5.056091. So there is another column which takes the first difference. Now I will see that after taking the first difference, again I will plot the thing. Again I will plot the thing and I will try to understand that whether the trend reduces or not. TS line GDP. The new variable is GDP, so I am applying it on GDP. TS line GDP. You can see the trend removes. The trend is no more. There is no more trend. There is no more trend. Fine. So if you want to remove the trend, if you want to remove the cyclical variation, if you want to remove the seasonal variation, anything, then you go for first difference, and if it yet not done in first difference, then go for second difference. But I recommend most of the data, I am very sorry, most of the data we have first difference is enough. If we apply first difference, the trend removes, or there is cyclical variation, it removes. So what are the steps we have applied? Let me check once again. First, I have declared it as a time series data by comment T set year. Then I have gone for the GDP per capita. The trend I have gone for the whether any of the component is present of time series in my data or not. And then what I have done, I have generated a new variable, gen GDP. The new variable is nothing but it is the first difference of my original variable. My original variable was GDP per capita, so the command is D dot GDP per capita. D stands for difference. D stands for difference. D dot GDP per capita. Okay. So after that, I have done the graph, or I have plotted the graph onto my new variable to check whether the trend disappears or whether the trend remains. So if the trend disappears, then I am very fine that I can work with this data, and I will work with the first difference data. So now the question in your mind pops up that why is he removing the trend? Why is he removing the trend? Because what will happen if I go with the trend, if I work with the trend? So there is a concept called stationarity and non-stationarity. Whenever we are working with the trend or cyclical variation or seasonal variation, always remember there is a autocorrelation present in the background, and it will affect your work, it will affect your research, it will affect your analysis. Whenever there is a trend, if Shayok Ghosh has scored 18 runs in today's match, definitely Shayok Ghosh, if Shayok Ghosh is practicing for a long time, definitely he is going to score 20 runs in the next match, 30 runs in the next after that match, 40 runs, 50 runs. So if I plot the data of Shayok Ghosh and his runs, I will get a clear upward trend. So my data is autocorrelated, because my today's run is based on yesterday's run, because what I have scored yesterday is based on is affecting my today's run. In this case, the same thing was happening. I have the data for GDP in India 1960 to 2020 for 60 years. So if my GDP in 1960 was something A, and if it is B in 1961, so B is always affected by A, because what will be the country's GDP is dependent on the previous year. And if autocorrelation is present, then I am not going to work with that data, because it will give me a spurious regression. Spurious means nonsense regression. If I am going to work with that particular data, it will give me a spurious regression, nonsense regression. So whenever we are working with time series data, what we do, we take the first difference. And it is a very big concept, that what is the difference between stationarity, non-stationarity, how can we check that whether my data has autocorrelation with, I cannot say with diagram, I have to go for perfect test. You have learned heteroscedasticity using cross-sectional data. So how to detect either heteroscedasticity is present in your model or not? Just go for the residual plot. Have you gone for residual plot? you have just go for the residual plot. Whenever you are going for the residual plot, you can see the residuals are bivated in such a way, you can see that there is heteroscedasticity. But if you just put the diagram in your copy and say to your in your research paper and say that by residual plot I have proven that there is heteroscedasticity, no one will go to understand the problem. You have to go for a particular test. You guys told that Bruce-Pagan test. Similarly, whether autocorrelation is present or not, by the trend I can understand, because there is a clear upward trend. Each and every year is affecting the previous year. Each and every year is affected by the previous year. I am sorry, but whenever autocorrelation is present, I cannot say it with only diagram. I have to go for some analytical framework. I have to go for some test. There are many tests: augmented Dickey-Fuller test, Langjang box text. There are many types of tests. Okay, and that will be our second class. That will be our most important class in the next day. That we are going to understand what is the difference between stationarity and non-stationarity. What will happen if we work with the autocorrelation data, and how to detect that whether autocorrelation is present in my data or not, and how to remove the autocorrelation from my data, and how to do that. So this was up to today. So now I request all of the members that if you have any questions,